if you had to start your business over, like what are the things that you would do differently? And I thought, oh, this would be a really great episode. So here I am recording this episode, and I just trust that what needed to happen, it happened in the way that it needed to. And so that's one way that I really look at it. But if I really had to break things down, here are a few things that ultimately I would change. Number one is that I would really detach myself from and my worth from the money. Because for many years, especially in those beginning stages when you are starting your business, the money is very up and down and there's no real consistency. You're trying new things, you're really learning about yourself, you're trying to find your voice and how do you fit into this space and what is it that really lights you up? And so that's a journey and that's a process that you have to go through. There's no real timeline of what that's going to look like. And to be quite honest, like that's always ever evolving. So that's something you really have to trust in the process, is that you're always going to be evolving. And so for me, for many years, it was like, oh, if I'm not bringing in the money or the amount that I have in my head, that I'm not successful, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not good enough. This business is never going to work out because I can't hit this number. And that's just so far from the truth. And so that was, really diving deep into my own stories and my own traumas and really working on healing that and reframing my own story around money so that I could really start to let go of that attachment. And yeah, I'm very thankful that I'm at a place now where I don't feel that. And it's very, I don't even know the word that I would use in terms of like describing my relationship with money per se, but it just feels so much more at ease. And there's just this flow and it feels more like graceful. And there's not this like forcing or this deep attachment. And again, like your business will go up and down and you will have some really big months and then some lower months and some big months. And it's just like this roller coaster. And I mean, you definitely get to a point where it becomes a little bit more stable for sure. And that took me quite a few years to do that because I had to, again, figure out my flow and my voice. And, you tend to pivot and you change things and you try something and it doesn't work and it may not fit. And so it's okay, show up, try again, try something new. What can I make better? How can I fix this? What can I do to make this work or make it feel in more alignment to me? Okay, number 2 on my list, what would I change in my business if I had to start over? I wrote here, putting more energy into growing my email list. And so in the beginning, I knew this was important, but not fully. I really wish I would have spent more time and energy building that email list, because I think what happened was there was like ebbs and flows where I was like, oh yeah, my email list, let's put some energy. And then I would kind of stop and then kind of get back to it and then stop. And if anything, going back in time, changing that so that it was an always growing thing behind the scenes. And so for those of you who are like, what do you mean your email list? Basically, sure, we have social media and we can get followers on there and all of that and build our community there. But ultimately, we really want to build our email list because let's face it, social media is very saturated. It's very busy. People are scrolling by and like seeing your posts and it's like 2 seconds. And so building your email list is where you are taking people off of these platforms and inviting them onto essentially like a newsletter list where you can send out a weekly email or maybe twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever that looks like for you. I know some businesses send out sometimes one every single day. We will often send out sometimes 2 to 3, sometimes 1. Like it can sometimes vary, but there's always going to be 1 week that goes out. And the purpose of that is so that we can connect with you guys and share information outside of social media, because number one, the censorship is real over there. And I'm going to build a much better connection with you in the inbox versus social media, because again, just the busyness of it. And sometimes there's more stories and things we can share on a deeper level. in the email list that necessarily won't get censored over on social media. So really building the email list is so important from a sales perspective as well, because if you do want to sell anything to your community, you are going to have more chances of doing that through your email list versus social media, again, because it's so saturated and people are seeing things so quickly and not fully paying attention. But if it lands in their inbox, they may be more than likely to see that. So your email list, so important. Do spend time on growing that. It literally is your business. Another thing that I would change. Now, again, this one's easier said than done, because looking back, in hindsight, again, the where I was, it was important for me to be there so that I could grow and learn. And so this next one on my list is being more polarizing with my content. But that's also that's something hard to say, like, oh, I wish I could have changed that back then. I needed the years. I needed those years to go through those years so that I could find my voice and work on my personal growth and really step more into who I am as a woman and what my truths really are. I had to find that voice, and that took years. And so when I say polarizing content, it's really important to take a stand for something. I think so many of us, and I can understand in this very sort of polluted world of social media, and like I said, with the censorship and all of that, I think so many of us are scared to really ruffle the feathers. And I'm not necessarily telling you to like ruffle the feathers per se, but if there's something that you truly believe in and there's something that you are really against, like share that. That's what your platform is for. And you have to trust that the people who also believe in that and connect with it are going to find you. And those are the people that are going to come onto your page and follow you and like really be your raving fans. And whereas if you are just trying to like really play it safe and make everybody happy, the only person you end up hurting is yourself, because it means you're not truly speaking your truth and sharing the things that you really, really want to share and are truly passionate about. So we see this in a lot. I see this a lot in just like something like eating meat and vegetarianism, right? Like I see this all the time. And so again, you have to, like, if you believe that plant-based is the way to go, then talk about that, own that, honor that, speak about that. Do you have experience with it and you want to share your stories around that? Go ahead and do that. In my 5+ years of being on social media, I have never gone on that platform to go on somebody else's page and leave a mean comment because they were polarizing and bold about something that they believe in. Number one, it is my choice to follow them or not. And if they're sharing content that I don't resonate with, it's my choice to simply leave. And I get to do that quietly. And I like to do that quietly. I don't need to announce to people, oh my God, I can't believe you shared this. I'm going to unfollow you. No, I don't need to do that. Like, does it really matter to them? Of course not. I am one small fish in the sea, and I am not going to go on there and sort of quash their dreams and their voice and their message, because that's what's true for them. And that's not for me to come in and say anything. However, I have my own platform, so I can go on that platform and share the things that are my truth and that really resonate with me. And so this is really important. I want you to think about, oh my God, like somebody that comes to mind right now, and this is going to be like so out there, but the reason he comes to mind right now is because there was a recent documentary on Crave called Phoenix Rising with Evan Rachel Wood sharing her basically like the abuse she went through while she was dating Marilyn Manson. And it's a really intense documentary because obviously like she went through a lot of like physical and verbal trauma in that relationship. And she's really open about it on this documentary. And it's very profound and also very uncomfortable to hear, all of it. And but as I was watching it and just like, seeing him, I was just like, oh my God, like think about how wild and out there and crazy Marilyn Manson is and or was. I mean, I don't follow him, so I don't really know if he's, changed over the years, but like he had a cult following, like sold out concerts. And that's because he was in his truth, speaking his message, and maybe it didn't resonate with me. And so, and it didn't resonate with me. It wasn't my music or my sort of persona to follow, but how many millions of people did, right? And so think about that. Think about how many people that you feel really drawn to and connected to in the online space. It's probably because they are posting some polarizing content and you feel really connected to that message. And so you follow them. So many years ago, starting out, it would have been very hard for me to ruffle the feathers, speak my truth, post bold content, and be polarizing. And even now, I have issues with it. Like, trust me, that is not something that you just kind of like snap your fingers and you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm over this. I kind of like go through these ebbs and flows with it. And some days I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share this thing. And then other days I'm like, oh my God, no, wait, I can't share that. Even just sharing my experience with COVID, like, I just wanted to share my experience. And again, there's many people that didn't agree with me sharing it or how I shared it or the tone of how I shared it or, the words that I used. Like, you are just going to piss people off no matter what you do. And you can't make everybody happy. And so the sooner you can accept that, it's just such a weight off of your shoulders to be able to show up as you and share your truth. Just do that. The sooner you can do that, the more at ease and at peace and the more joy you're going to have building your business. Okay, so that's number 3. Next up, I would have actually started my business sooner. I just would have started sooner. And for years, I kept taking nutrition course after nutrition course, thinking I needed all of these fancy initials after my name so that I could truly prove myself to people and prove my worth. And that's not why people hire you. Now, of course, having knowledge is very important, but I am certain that so many of us who, if you're a practitioner listening to this today, you have enough knowledge to go out there and help somebody. And over time, you will start to recognize the areas that you're really lit up by and the education that you might really want to dive into. But to feel like you need to know all of it in the beginning before you've even worked with somebody, I don't recommend it. So just start where you are. Just start. There's no waiting. And I really wish I would have started sooner. So I kept taking so many courses and spending so much money on, just having all these fancy initials after my name. And then I just kept going from job to job to job, thinking like, this job is going to be the one that makes me happy. Oh, no, I had a 1.5 year expiry here, off to the next job. And like, I kept repeating this cycle over and over and over again. And until I realized, oh my God, like nothing in the external here with all these jobs and companies is going to make me happy. I need to really do this for myself because I know deep down inside the thing I want to do is have my own business and coach my own clients. And I just wish I would have started it sooner. But again, easier said than done, right? We can always go back in hindsight. And so I trust the way that it all unfolded. And I worked in so many amazing, in the industry, I worked in health food stores and was a sales rep for different health companies. So I learned so much and got to make so many great friendships and build these really great relationships with people. And so, that's why it had to happen the way that it did. And so I'm really thankful for that. And so the last part that I would add here, which kind of ties into the last piece in terms of starting sooner, is that I would have hired a coach sooner and I would have really learned marketing sooner. All that money that I spent on like course after course, if I would have just taken that and invested it in really learning marketing and learning the online world, well, then that would have helped to catapult me further. And so I think so many of us forget that. I mean, we graduate and then we forget that marketing piece. We're like, and this is what I did. I can really just speak for myself, but I graduated from nutrition school like almost 15 years ago. And I graduated with this like excitement of like, okay, all these people are going to come like banging down my door. I've got my website up. I've got these business cards. And it was crickets. Like there was nobody because I knew how to be a practitioner and a nutritionist, even though I was still brand new. Of course, there was so many things to figure out there and it was definitely not perfect. But I didn't know how to actually market myself. And so there's so many pieces there with marketing. So I really do consider myself just as much a marketer as I do a nutritionist, as I do a coach. So much of what we do is like, if I want to get out there and help people, and if I want to support them in transforming their health or their business, I got to put myself out there. I have to know how to bring people in and make sales and have automations in place. Like, I got to know how to do that. Like, that's just the reality of running a business. And so we really have to learn how to accept that and step into that marketing role. And this is why I launched the business mentorship program, because after so many years of growing my own business and just loving the behind the scenes stuff, loving building my email list and creating funnels and creating programs, signature programs and webinars. Like I just loved it so much. And I didn't think that I would fall so much in love with it. And then after having so many practitioners come my way and be like, how are you doing this? How are you getting clients? I was like, okay, this is the next chapter for me. This is the next thing for me to really start supporting women in outside of nutrition. And so that's what we do with our mentorship program. It is 9 months. And I often joke how like it's like my baby that I created. And now that I think about it, yeah, it kind of is, because it is a 9-month program. And so it's really fantastic. We work with a very small group of students, and we typically don't take on more than 20 students at a time. And if this is something that you are interested in, I do recommend reaching out and connecting with me, because we are opening enrollment again very shortly for April. And so we already have spots that are sold. It pretty much sells out every single time. And, the reason we keep it really intimate is because, number one, you are working with me privately. You do have coaching support with myself at various times throughout the 9 months. And then you're also working with my team as well. You get connected with an amazing tech team who's going to actually help set up those tech platforms, your email marketing platform. If you're using something for like your landing pages and whatnot, we're going to help set that all up for you, because I know how daunting the tech can be. And it often is the thing that holds so many of us back, because we're just like, oh my God, I can't figure this out, so forget it. And so then we just do nothing with it. And so I really wanted to bring people momentum. And so that's why we have the tech support. So you get to work with our tech team and have onboarding calls with them. And they really help to set up some fundamentals for you in your business, which is really great. Yeah, so there's so much I can say about our mentorship. I'm just really proud of it. I'm really proud of the results our students have gotten, and all the things that they're learning and that they're implementing. Just being able to witness not just their professional growth, but their personal growth, and who they step into and how they really come to finding their truth in that process is just like an amazing and beautiful thing to witness as a coach. So if you're interested, the Align and Lead 9-month business mentorship program, just reach out to me. You can find me over on social media at Holistic Wellness Foodie, or I suggest heading on over to samanthagladish.com/mentorship, and you can learn more about the program there. And we'd love to have you in our next round. We do work primarily with those who are in the health and wellness space. So if you're a wellness coach, you're a practitioner, you're a naturopath, even if you're a life coach and you are looking to start and scale your online business, that's what our mentorship program is for. And as somebody that has built a very successful online business and brand, and from podcasting to writing books, launching webinars, creating signature programs, these are all the things that we're going to dive into and teach you inside the mentorship programs. So that is that. That is if I had to go back and change, my business and start over, what are some of those things that I might do? And so I really hope that there was some pieces of, like nuggets in there for you to really take from and run with. And I do hope that maybe it sparks something in you to get out there and start your business if that's something that has been on your heart and something that you've been really wanting to run with and lead with. Then I really suggest that you go out there and do it.